Welcome everyone to the L7C podcast, My Hero Academia edition. Today, we are here to review the final 5 episodes of My Hero Academia season 7. We are here with the My Hero enthusiast, Miss Andrea Alanese. How are you doing today, ma'am?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to talk some My Hero, Martin, because oh my goodness, were these episodes amazing?
Yeah, and we're gonna get right into it. For the people listening, I don't want to say this is an official 3-part pod, but it's kind of a 3-part pod depending on when these episodes come out. So you'll get this episode of us talking about the last 5 episodes of the My Hero Academia season 7. Then you will also hear the episode of us reviewing the My Hero Academia movie that came out the day of the
Hmm.
last episode. And then
Yep.
you'll hear us talking about season 7 as a whole in the third episode about what we liked, didn't like, retrospective things of that nature. So this specific episode is just focused on the 5 episodes that occurred.
Yes.
Andrea, last time we were together, middle of September is when this episode came out, when we talked about 151 to 154. Um, All for One took control again. The Sad
Hmm.
Man's Death Parade
Yep.
just happened. So
Yep.
then we are here now at 155.
At 155. Hopes. Yep. Oh my gosh. I will freely admit, actually, I did not go back far enough. I thought we were on It's a Small World. I cannot count. Uh,
It's
but
okay.
like,
So 155, and that's what started after, like 154 ended on the Gentle Criminal and Lady Naga
right.
coming.
The reveals. That's
hmm
right.
So it starts with them like, all right, why are these people here? Why are these people helping? Like
Hmm.
giving the revelation of that Lady Naga got her stuff from Rocklock because Rocklock told her all the things that are happening.
Hmm.
Obviously, Gentle Criminal was holding up UA because, like we said at the end of the last episode, if UA drops, the world is over. So
Yep.
literally, right now, the world is literally
In his gentle hands.
in his gentle hands. And then you got La Brava, Tech Wizard.
Yep.
They're streaming this all to everybody in the world once again, seeing him holding UA, and like that's like the first part of the episode. So what are your thoughts on seeing each of their motivations on why they wanted to help?
I mean, it was, I feel like I'm going to be saying a lot of the same things over again for a lot of these episodes in the sense
Hmm.
that just overall, almost every episode, there's going to have some touching moment in every single one of them. Whether or not the moments culminated in my tears will be discussed later. But, I mean, it's really touching. It really goes to show all of the, you know, efforts, Midoriya took in recognizing these people as people
Hmm.
instead of solely as, villains or bad guys, brings back in to the fold of like, just because we were on opposite sides or had different beliefs, in this one instance, this one face off, this one perspective, had a little heart to heart. In this instance, they're coming around to his side, but in the sense of it's for the greater good. It was always part of who they wanted to be. And they just needed help, you know, stepping outside of themselves and, realizing that they could get a second chance, things could be different. And all hope is not lost, which is partly why, obviously, this episode is called Hopes.
It's and we'll get to that in the next episode. But after that part, you transfer over to main battlefield A, where
Uh-huh.
they're all fighting all for one. All for one is basically like, this is boring. I need to go get to Shigaraki and
Yep. Let me just
do
take some souvenirs as I go.
and they're trying to stop them. They're unsuccessful. Then finally, which really want to hear your thoughts on this, about it took 2 seasons, but the other high school has finally entered the battlefield.
I know they finally entered the chat. Hello, Mr. Wind.
Yep,
Endeavor hater.
Cammy,
Weirdest
all of
guy.
them. Just I don't understand why it took at this point for them to finally enter.
I know. Like it's I mean, again, it hypes up the suspense. I mean, maybe for people who aren't don't have those characters top of mind the way you and I do. It's kind of another one of those instances where it's like,
Hmm.
oh shit, like how we were for La Brava and Gentle Criminal and Lady
Hmm.
Nagant, but to a lower extent because these are characters. Well, at least they're classmates. We did see them briefly earlier in this season, in the rescue. Because what's her name? Is it Turtle? Her quirk is turtleneck, and then his quirk is vibrate. I think the one that looks kind of like Midoriya, but he's kind of like a douchey Midoriya
Is he the one that is that the per? I
with
thought
the green vest, with the
I
little
thought
green half
Midoriya
vest.
saved them at beginning of season six
Was it
because that's
beginning of season six?
because that's when he saved them from Muscular because he was getting
That's right.
they were getting their
Excuse
asses
me. You are
whooped
totally right. That's right. Oh my God. I'm now blending the seasons. Look at that. All right.
because
Well,
both that fake Midoriya and
mhm.
Muscular were both like, is this really the same like
Midoriya.
before he
Right.
became fully the vigilante Deku Saga? So, but yeah,
Right.
we
That's
saw
right.
they were both saved by him, and then they were just like, it's just wild because that Wind dude. I mean, he was presented in the remedial courses to be like at the same level as a Shoto at that
Shoto and
time.
Bakugo. Yeah.
So why wouldn't you have someone who's supposedly
A
well
heavy hitter. Right.
back then I
Hmm.
don't know where he is now and the whole scaling of all that, but it's just weird. And then like
It is. It is a little weird. It's obviously on purpose, but like, yeah, we could have used you a little sooner, bro. Like we will both die on that hill of where were y'all when the war happened. Like all of this could have been avoided if we had a little more backup. We had a little more, gusto at the initial like onset, cut that shit off. But again, obviously this is all written with the purpose. So even if they would have been written in, it would have been some bullshit where they didn't survive, they got really hurt, whatever. So thank you for bringing them in, Hirokoshi, when you did, because like it was awesome.
they were still
Um,
yeah, they were still trying to fight All For One. All For One was still overpowering all of them at the same time.
yes,
Then
yes,
Tokoyami, he got his moment with Dark Shadow at full
yep,
power,
yep,
starts pummeling All For One in the ground.
yep.
But then of course you got the Sandman's $1 million whatever paradise going. And Toga is trying to transform to the other people of the League of Villains, but she can't. So she's wondering, what the hell? Why can't I transform to one of those things? And at the end of that episode is when Uraraka and Froppy are running. Uraraka sees that there's one twice that's looking visibly frustrated, and she realizes that is that is the real Toga.
Hmm.
So then that one ends. And then Andrea, these next four, they're kind of they're almost like one person per it's like main focus on one person. Like it's a small
Uh-huh.
world that we're going into.
Yep.
I couldn't believe this was really focused. Like so, it's a small world. I would say that's Mina. I
Yes.
am here is the entire Todoroki family. Obviously, All Might
Yep.
has the line, but it's the Todoroki family.
Hmm.
Girl's ego, that's Uraraka,
Okay.
and
Yep.
then Battle It Out Quirk, that's All Might.
Might. Yep.
So those are like the four, and just going into small world, like obviously they're still fighting All For One, and then he just
Yeah.
he just goes bonkers. But I was so intrigued and like I was fully engaged with the Mina stuff because
Yes. Me too.
Mina,
Yep.
that self-realization, like I'm weak. This is the reason why this happened. This is the reason why my teacher died. Like when she
Yep.
kept going and going, I was just sitting there quiet. I was like,
Oh,
oh my gosh, she's like really like
she's
everything
yep.
that everyone has ever said about her and fandom of and all this stuff and her own personal thing, and she's just going and going and going. And I'm just sitting there, I was like, oh my wow. What'd you think when you heard her just having that self realization
Reflection.
of all of her mistakes of the whole series?
Part some of her mistakes I will say I was like, I mean, I don't know if I would have said they're full on mistakes per se, just like, moments of growth. But
She did.
but and that's the point is she did having to look back on all of that, accepting, her portion of responsibility, acknowledging where she fell short when she fell short instead of like, trying to ignore it or play it off or excuse it in the sense of, yeah, she wasn't, um fully herself or she wasn't as courageous as she should have been. She shouldn't have frozen in that moment. She shouldn't have like paused and hesitated there for a second during this instant once when it was all kicking off because she could have died and all of that good stuff. So acknowledging all of that, embracing it and using it to move forward. I mean, it was really impressive. It was good to see, good to hear. And for me, I'm like, all right, Mina, awesome. Let's go. Now let's see what you got. And she was showing the hell up. So,
I thought she was gonna die. Like it was getting to the point where I was like, oh, she does not have the stamina for this. Like that she is at
mm-hmm.
her very limit. Like she pushed her acid, and it's
Yep.
crazy too once you have self realization and what you can really like achieve. And it's
Steve,
just like,
yes.
and she kept going. She beat. I mean, call back to season one. She beat the Sludge Villain because Sludge Villain was
Yep.
about to get another one of our favorite Sin Show out of commission.
Yep. And this
So
is where he showed up, and I was just like,
yeah,
ah, yes, I called it. I knew it. I fucking knew it.
he
He was going to
came
be the
through.
ace in the hole for Gigantomachia. I knew it.
Yeah,
But
he came
also,
through. He did.
he did. I mean, I'm sure we'll touch on this here in a moment, but like the whole twist at the end of how like Shinso even admitted that he can't sway the heart, and the fact that you know Gigantomachia was low key pissed that his owner, All for One, just abandoned him, and so he was actually going after him on his own. It's like, oh shit, all right. So to me, that was also a foreshadowing of how these seeds and plans and throwaway people, all of that structure, that system that he set up has to eventually start imploding. And that was one of the ones where, I mean, they he gave him a quirk called dog to make him loyal, and that dog was attacking him because he'd been abandoned and forgotten and unloved.
Yeah, after because they took him there, they were doing all this stuff, and he broke out of the Shinso thing when he saw him. He's like, basically, like you said, why'd you leave
Yep.
me? All for One gave his all for one speech. The problem
Yep.
is after that,
Yep.
and that's why I gave you and the person who's going to be editing and stuff, Byron, so much shit for this. I was like, oh yeah, it's really called Hope, huh? The last episode was called Hope. All for One literally destroyed every single person on the battlefield in this episode.
Yep.
Every single, like I never see Gajian Kamakia get smoked like that. Mount Lady
Yep. And one hit.
destroyed.
It was like one hit too.
Hmm.
Like one hit down. Bro was out. Uh uh
Everyone got
Mount Lady
destroyed.
on the floor. The only person that was quote unquote standing at the end of that episode was Quasi Hawks because All for One was taking his quirk. That's the only
Yeah,
reason he
and
was
there's
standing up.
the
He was
big one.
he was choking him. He was holding him by the throat
The
and
number
stealing his
two,
wings.
the number two hero in Japan just lost his quirk. This like that's where I'm just like, yeah, this is real hope, all right. Like this is
Hey,
just
let us live. Let us be happy. Let us be delusional. It's fine.
But the thing is too, and out of all the people who had another moment in this episode, in a
Yes.
serious way, was Mineta
Yes.
because
Yes. And I'm so glad you brought that up because Mineta is your boy. Other
oh
than
yeah,
Toshida, Mineta is your boy. And
yeah,
look,
never. If you
looking
would have
at
told me 6 years ago, Mineta would have had that serious face, standing up for all for one, telling him not to steal Tokoyami's quirk, I
work,
would have never
yeah,
believed it. And
exactly. And that's how much growth he has had. And it's something, again, I was talking to my work friend about this, but it is something very subtle. So people who
mhm,
only ever focus on the action and the fight sequences for growth would have totally ignored that. But trying to remember back to the USJ incident when Mineta's like, I'm so scared I can't do anything. Like I
mhm,
can't even look at these people. I'm gonna hide. I'm here in a hero course, but I can't face the music when it's time.
mhm.
And there he is talking smack, kind of like, oh, don't get that quirk. That quirk's, let him have that quirk. You're just gonna be a moody teenager if you get that quirk. Steal my quirk.
Wow,
My quirk. It'll give you a cool hairstyle. Pay attention to begging and just all
all for one.
seriousness was willing for it, willing to do it.
And he left.
Just
I think all for one left because it's just like I can't believe like I mean in terms of power, no offense, he's weak, but someone this weak is standing up to me like this. Like he's
right.
laying on the like his ass is beat too. He got
Oh
blasted and
yeah.
all this stuff too, and he's like standing up to me and it's just like, oh, I don't have time for that. But also want to go back a little bit too, because you have the
Hmm.
two reporters.
Yes.
They started showing the Midoriya fight and they started showing the All for One thing. And then All
Hmm.
for One just talking crazy. Oh, look, there's a reporter up there. The world's gonna watch you guys fail again, and I'm just like,
Again,
Jesus.
uh, like of the anime that I've watched, I really wonder if All for One is the like just top tier biggest shit talker. Like, is it like bro's words cut like they cut deep because they're so true. Like it's ah
It's
ah,
wild too. It's especially back when he was like doing that, and he had his music in the nice suit
mhm.
and three
And he
piece
was
suit
calm about it.
talking.
Like it was all calculated. It's all smooth. Now he's gotten that much younger. They're commenting on, and he's even noticing that the more he's injured, the faster he's rewinding. So
Hmm.
that's part of well, he was done beating everybody there, but since the rewinding has sped up, since he's had to heal himself multiple times now, because right before Hawks's quirk was stolen, he did manage to stab him with one of his swords. Of course, it
Yeah.
doesn't really do much, but it is damage that has to be, you know, rewound.
Hmm.
So he's getting younger, which is a benefit. But yeah, no, he was talking all of that shit.
I just can't believe they let Hawks, like the number two hero, get his quirk taken in front
I
of
mean,
everybody on camera too. So like, this is your
on
number
camera.
two hero, then tosses him in the
Also,
dirt.
I did not realize Hawks's back was like as fucked up as it was because like
Hmm.
that whole thing is scar tissue. His whole back.
Yeah.
Jesus,
And then
poor
he
man.
takes his quirk and then talks shit about it. Like, I don't know how you became the number two hero with this trash ass quirk. And I'm like,
Right? Like,
gee,
wait, what the fuck, bro? You're the one that just took it. If it's such trash, why are you taking it?
just in front of the world to see. And then I do like, because there were some people in the My Hero fandom who had this confusion, which I don't understand why, because you can tell with these movies when they were, because Midoriya is obviously holding Shigaraki, because if he touches the ground, it's over. And like
Mhm.
Shigaraki's regained himself.
Yep.
So it's kind of bullshit because if Stars and Stripes was alive right now, Shigaraki would be dead. But
Right. Right. Right.
they're streaming that fight. They're showing everyone who's watching. And if you pay attention, they show everyone from the previous three movies who are all
Yes.
watching because there's
Hmm.
people who thought those movies weren't canon to the story, which they
Right.
are.
They've always been stated as being canon. They're not part of the manga, but Hirikoshi has always said that those stories are written to be canon
Hmm. and he
as part
writes
of the
what
story.
and he writes one shots about them, like for
Hmm.
like it's just weird that people never like. Well, there's your proof, people, because Melissa was shown watching it.
Yep.
The two kids from the second movie were watching it. The guy in the bird, like they were watching it. Like everyone's
Yep.
watching it. So all the
Yep.
people. So it's just like this is serious shit. Like the whole world's going like Midoriya's doing just holding off Shigaraki in that hurricane thing near UA, and they're just going, and you still have to deal with all of the twices because the twices are going crazy. You got, I don't want to say your guy because he's not your guy, but you got Dobby coming in
Yep.
just burning everything too. So you got to take care of him. So you're at a situation where it's like you
You're
can't beat all for
you're
one.
in a battle on all fronts. Like you
Hmm.
and like you said, each episode basically covers each individual battle. Well, the final episode, which beautiful episode, cliffhanger, ouch, but needs to be done. That's the only one that doesn't essentially like wrap up one of the major
Hmm.
battle points.
Yeah.
Because to me, and that like I know I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but that was a battle point that I had not expected. Um, I thought it was just, we had Toga with, Sad Man's Death Parade. We have Dobby with his, I don't even know what to call it now, phosphorus, hype,
Revenge,
supermax,
revenge, fire, death balls.
fire, whatever. And, well, obviously Shigaraki. So those were the main three.
Yep.
So, and then I did not expect the fourth one to pop up. But like I said, I'm getting ahead of all of us. So, like, I'll dial it back. But it's a small world. I love that Shinsho came into play. I
Yes.
am honestly slightly sad that Gigantomachia didn't put up more of a fight, so he couldn't have been used more.
Isn't it
Um,
crazy? Isn't it crazy how, when he's
right,
against the heroes, he killed. I mean, he's the reason Midnight and all of them are dead, and like all those
right,
people that got stomped on. But when he comes to the good side, he gets one shot in 10
right.
seconds. It's crazy how that works. But
Hmm.
I mean, again, all for one, just he ends that episode talking about how bad the heroes are failing, just all
Right.
of them in the dirt, and with that episode again, shout out to Mina, shout out to Shincho, shout out to Mineta, and things are just still bad. It's bad. And then you go to I Am Here. You got all for one spies already in the facility.
Right. Right.
Like,
They were always in the shelter. They always were. We always knew that.
just
And
wild.
and there we go. And their whole thing was like, oh, once he's, in power, like we'll be able to do what we want and just the whole it's like, guys, you the fact that you can't do something, you can't go against him means exactly you will not be able to do what you want. But regardless, so they're fucking up the the
Yeah.
escape route for UA, and of course, which is the one with the main problem escaping? The one with the Todoroki family,
hmm
and Bakugo's mom, and
hmm
Midoriya's mom.
That's
So
just
like
how it works.
it obviously that's story writing. That's how it goes. That's the drama. We
We had
love
we had some
it.
class 1B showing up in there. We had Kendo and
We
them.
did. We
Them
did.
coming through and the counter team showing up. But then you go from all right, we're gonna stop them too. We have a problem.
Yep.
Dobby is about to blow up.
Yep.
Literally, he's about to blow up. And
Yep.
his heat is at a level where it's gonna incinerate everything within 5 kilometers, including
Yep.
the block. Like basically, when he blows up, all the everyone who
He's a
we know by
bomb.
name, they're
Dobby's
gonna
a bomb.
die.
He's
Yeah.
the bomb.
Yep.
Is Dobby. That is what he's become. That's what he is. That's his plan. He's going out. You will see me. I'm going out with a bang,
hmm
literally. So Endeavor's like trying to, I don't know, just the desperate cling to him of like almost trying to like cover him up to like take as much brunt as he can, but he knows it's going to go beyond him. Just trying, begging, crying, like don't don't involve these other people. Like I am sorry, and it's the way he conveys it is not that he's sorry because all of these people's lives are at risk.
hmm
You can tell that's coming from the depths of him in the sense of I know I failed you. I know I should have shown up at that mountainside. I should have seen beyond what I was looking at or what the goal I was looking towards and seen you and trying to apologize and begging to keep it between the two of them. And he also knows that if this happens, Dobby's going to die. And you can tell he's very upset and sad
Yeah.
by that fact.
The thing is, man, I mean, with the world watching too, if he
Mm-hmm.
blows up like that and is successful and everyone just sees all the heroes and everyone, Midori, all
There's
them
a
getting
lot
caught
of
in
heroes
glass,
in that area.
hmm
Yeah.
then the game is over and all for one's just like, ah, la di da, I'm just gonna fly to Shigaraki. Huh? If you blow yourself up over there, take care.
Have
Um,
fun. See ya.
and then with him approaching Sugar head cop dude, he's just
Yeah.
like, there's no backup. We absolutely have no one
No
left.
one. No
Zero.
one. There is not a soul to be seen, called on, pulled from. Nothing.
Like
Dire
Lady
Straits.
Naga wasn't even like there. She did that on her own. It wasn't like part of
She
the plan because
did.
she's like in her. She's not in her like uniform. She's in hospital
Right.
clothes. Like their
And she,
last ace in the hole was Gentle Criminal saving the damn planet.
mm-hmm.
So now he said it. There's no ace. Like if he gets there, Midoriya's gonna have to fight both of them, and he's gonna lose.
And he's gonna lose.
And then
Yep.
he's looking around like, wait, where's All Might? And then obviously Shoto, he knows he's seeing the Dobby thing. He's a
Yep.
billion miles away.
Yep.
So then, and we thought he beat him almost 3 podcasts ago, and
I
here,
know.
and
I'm
then
still so pissed about that. Let's
here we
not.
are, and we're just like, so what's gonna happen here? So he's he feels like he's failed. He just feel like
Mm-hmm.
they failed, blah blah. And then on the other side, the whole Todoroki family's looking up like, man, if this goes off, we're gonna
This
we're all gonna
this
die,
this
and
is
this is
death for
our
everybody.
and this
And
is
this
our
is
responsibility because this is
yep.
our son
This is
slash
our
brother.
yep.
So they make the decision. They're like, oh, little robot person, can you take? They're going. So on their side,
Mm-hmm.
All Might's giving the pep talk on the phone to Shoto and Ida. It's like, you guys can do it, blah, blah, blah. And then Ida and Shoto, which I don't know. if this is gonna be the, they work together if they both
I
survive this.
freaking hope
If
so after
if
this.
they
That
both
was so
survive,
fucking cool. Well,
if
okay,
they both
don't throw
survive,
that around. No, no, no. Martin, do not throw that around so easy, please.
you
No,
gotta. Hey,
no.
we're gonna get to the last episode where you see one of the most disturbing, like, I don't know, it's not reflection, but like w the most disturbing where are they nows of class 1A.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Like
yeah,
three-fourths of them you don't even know if they're surviving. Like once we get
right.
to that part. But just saying, if they survive, they will that tandem, they've
That's gonna be a signature combo. The fucking ice jet. I don't know what they called it for real. I don't remember, but like that was sweet as hell.
which it's weird because like obviously we know season two we had the stain stuff. And
Yes,
then in the second movie, they were on a team fighting that one
yes.
big villain. But they don't,
The chimera guy.
yeah. But
Hmm.
they really don't have that many interactions like that together. And when I saw that, I'm like, is this a wasted opportunity there where we could have maybe like shown some more Shoto and Ida like creating a bond as Midoriya and Bakugo were getting closer, as
Right,
Midoriya and Uraraka were getting closer. Like maybe we should show some more Ida because again, Ida after season two, he is really an afterthought.
right.
But now you, like you said, they combined and they go zoom zoom literally, and and I'm just sitting there too, like respectfully. Then why didn't we do this to go get Midoriya?
Right? Oh my God. I was thinking the same thing. I was like,
We could have saved a lot. Again, we don't. I mean, Lemillion said all those people are alive, but last time we checked, they have not shown any of those people. Lemillion got them all out, and they've been all incapacitated since. So, are they really alive? Like,
yeah.
I'm just saying, we had this type of speed con. I was like, why did we not do this earlier?
Right. Why did y'all not go pick up Midoriya and bring him over faster? But I do wonder if part of the reason for that is they couldn't leave their post because their post initially was to take care of Dobby. And
Yes,
as we already mentioned, some of us already thought he had been taken care of. Ugh. But
you're right. You're right.
honestly,
But man,
the
hindsight,
the
hindsight.
hindsight and but oh my God, Martin, the ugly tears, the amount of tears during this episode of just like all of the beautiful moments, the touching moments, the ownership of, certain responsibilities. I do feel like the siblings take on a little bit too much responsibility because they were all freaking children. They,
Well, I think the older brother's ass. That's just me.
yeah,
I
well,
think
no,
he's
for sure.
terrible. And I'm not
Right,
even talking
Dobby,
about Toya. I'm talking about the other brother. I think he sucks. I think he's terrible.
Natsuo, really? Why?
I'm not a fan. I'm just
He's the
not.
second oldest.
Still
I
not a
know.
fan. I'm still not a fan.
Hmm. Interesting.
I've just never been a fan. Like I don't know, because it's like, what do you really do? Like the sister at least was like taking care of him and all that. Shoto's trying to be hero to like clear the name. Endeavor's on atonement. The mom Ray is on atonement. Like, Natsu, what do you do?
Oh, like in the path of journey of everything, I mean, he's still, as far as we're aware, is he still coming to terms with the fact that he even wants to be a part of that journey? Because I think his whole thing is supposed to be that he's the normal one. He's a normal kid. Because his reaction is probably the most stereotypical to be with the attitude and the constant, simmering anger. So like anything dad does is gonna set him off and um cause a scene, storm out. Not honestly, he's kind of the one that doesn't put up with the bullshit. So I don't know. I think some people could make an argument. He's the one with the best boundary setting out of everyone in that family.
Maybe, but your family's a team. Well, two of them. Like, are they're superheroes? So just like, yeah,
Hmm.
but get with the fucking program. It also
Well,
doesn't
I
help me
mean,
that he got kidnapped out loud by a scrub. That's why
right.
that's not sitting well with me, dude. You're
That
18
okay.
and you got kidnapped by
Okay.
a scrub. A
But
scrub.
to be fair, not everyone in the family is a hero. However, each one of them showed up to take on the mantle and help like a freaking hero.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I mean, when this is your last scene of the series, you better do something. So, I mean, like you already said, Endeavor's having the whole thing, like the sorry, sorry stuff, and then he
Hmm.
realizes Dobby's gonna like everyone's about to die. So Endeavor's
Everyone,
about to
yep.
go up there. We're both about to blow up. And then just
Hmm.
like you said, those three show up. And then we're like, all right, that's not enough. But still on the other side of the planet or wherever the country is, we got the Zoom crew finally coming in. Ida is done for the Eat.
Yep.
He is done.
He is,
Shoto
yeah,
gets
his
there just in time.
just in time with just enough firepower. And he
Hmm.
even admits it once it's over. And I do want to circle back to Dobby's internal thinking because that was part of what was really powerful
Hmm.
for me and really got the tears flowing for me. But
How
he showed
everyone
up
was finally watching him.
that everyone, and he's like, is this really is this all I actually wanted? And anyway, well, I'll touch on that again in a little bit. But Shoto gets there, and then after it's all over and they were able to neutralize it, he freely admits, I probably would not have been able, with just my ice power alone, been able to neutralize this.
Hmm.
Thank you guys for being like, thank you guys for coming because I wouldn't have been enough,
What do
which
you
is crazy
what
and
do you think of
scary.
Dobby being I don't want to say late bloomer because obviously what it's hard because now he had blue flames and literally
Right,
at the end he unlocks the mom's ice.
right.
So it's just like technically he became what Endeavor and I'm like
Had wanted him to be
the
right.
first child and the last child became it's
Mm-hmm.
but two different sides of
Yep.
the coin. But I I'm gonna tell you right now, like especially with this episode, like in the Discord, I saw two things a lot, two
Mm-hmm.
specific things a lot on social
Yeah.
media. And I know you don't like them, but I'm just telling you what the
Mhm. Go
consensus
ahead.
was. His
Yeah.
story, Endeavor, top five character of the whole series. Just that's what was the discourse. Everyone's saying he is a top five, maybe top three character in the entire
His
series.
I will okay. I will make that argument for the amount of development he's had.
That's yeah, that's those
I
are top three.
That's it. I will not put him in like my top five favorite characters. I
Oh
don't
no, no, no! I know he's never going to be your favorite. I'm just saying objectively, like the fandom's like, oh,
yes.
like if story purposes,
I
he's top
I can
five.
I can, bend to the will of the, unbiased of looking at it for the writing. And I mean, his character is so well developed.
Hmm.
I just still don't like it.
Oh, I understand. I'm just
Like,
like that was.
but no, I agree. I would agree that writing wise, the amount of growth, the amount of reflection, even in just the span of this fighting period, because he had that little heart to heart with his younger self, being like, dude, this is not who you are. Own who the fuck you are.
Mhm.
Get up, do what you need to do. And
They've written him
so,
so good, you would think he was the main character of this show. Like all the stuff
yes.
we've seen him go through, you would think he is
Yeah.
legitimately the main character of the show.
Yeah.
And then the second thing is, people are like, dude, the Todoroki, like this whole Todoroki family thing, you can make the case that it's the second driving force in the entire series besides the everlasting conflict between One for All and All for One because
It
that
is.
family's drama is just absurd.
Yeah. And the only thing is, yeah, the all for one for all obviously spans generations.
Hmm.
But the Todoroki stuff, like, if Dobby had just been a little more on the like, I'm gonna build my low key revenge and spread it out, that could have lasted generations.
Hmm.
If he decided to have kids, he could have told his kids a story, could have turned them into well, you can't necessarily turn kids into villains, but like the whole thing, maybe influence them to be villains and like, hey, we're gonna terrorize the main family and seek revenge on my behalf, like sowing the seeds, just on and on and on. So like, yeah, for sure, their family drama, strife, grief, struggle is one of the biggest plot lines outside of obviously one for one and one for all.
I won't throw this out there to the fandom, but you said it, and obviously we know the manga ended, but and there's no plans of doing anything else. But I'll just say, what if thing? What if Dobby already has a kid already?
That would be interesting. That would be very, very, very interesting. And honestly, considering what J.K. Rowling did with the Harry Potter series, where
Hmm.
LOL somehow Voldemort has a child, which is the
Hmm.
weirdest thing ever in my brain.
Yeah,
But essentially, yeah, that's kind of how it would
yeah.
crop up
He didn't see
to
the
me.
family all connect. That kid can be like, they abandoned me, like they abandoned my dad, and my dad abandoned me. Who knows?
My
Like,
dad abandoned because that's the other thing. It's like if
mhm.
he really has a kid, where the fuck? How does Dobby even know who the fuck would he
Yeah,
have had a kid with? Like,
you don't know. I'm just saying you
I
could
mean,
throw that
also
wrench in there.
to be fair though, the doctor does some mad ass shit. So he could have,
Hmm.
I don't know, been doing like test tube babies out of like
Oh,
special
I am
genetics.
guaranteeing
Ugh.
if something ever of this, because that doctor's one, he's still alive, and
Yep.
so that anything is possible. But guaranteeing there could be little offspring League of Villains. He could have mixed some people up. So just a little thing there. But no, this episode, Todoroki's Ida. You have and then All Might standing there, in the middle of the street, dropping some bars too, because he's talking about how Shigaraki's hatred's affected all for one, and it don't matter what form I'm in. I know
Mhm.
you hate me so much. You're
Much
going to stop what you're doing to
doing.
come and kill me. Like,
Yep.
and you're just thinking about like the amount of hate you have to have for someone where you're like
It's
literally on the
that is
precipice
the
of world
legit
domination.
definition of it's on site. Like
Hmm.
legitimately. And this is like that is something that probably shouldn't have made me happy, but like on the low, because he has been so calculated and so tailored and
Hmm.
so just like the entire show for him to finally have like a rise of human emotion that introduces the element of potential error. Oh, that was so satisfying to me. Cause like part of me was a little scared that he would just fly off still, that he would somehow
Oh, we wouldn't be having this
course
conversation. The show
correct.
would the show would have been over.
Right.
Like Midoriya wouldn't, as strong as he is now. There's no, he has zero shot of beating both of them at the same time.
Together. Yeah, no.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
but it's just wild too because the human emotion thing, like you said, is spot on. Because all for one, he's lived ages,
Yep.
ages.
Yep.
He has only lost two fights in his entire life, and it was to
They
that
weren't
man.
life ending.
Yeah, and I know that's the problem. We didn't finish the job both times, but in All Might's thing, he thought he finished the job the first time because literally the dude's entire face was gone. But
Right.
like, you lost to
Mm-hmm.
All Might that time when he was still in his prime. Then you
Right.
lost to him at Cameo, like when the standing tall, you're next thing. So you only lost to one person your entire life twice. So you already hate that person. So you're
Yep.
like, finally, it's on my side. I'm going to kill this guy and keep him moving. And then, he drops the line, I am here, and then
Yep.
is still with the Todorokis. And now Endeavor's done. Shoto's
Yep.
done.
Dobby's done.
Dobby's done. But
He's been
we're
acknowledged. I do want to get this out. He's been seen. His pain has been recognized. His family is there around him. He's being
yep,
hugged by his father.
yep.
We got that image of him like being a little kid and standing in Dobby's like black stitched quote cloak,
Mm-hmm.
surrounded by the rest of the family. Um, that moment where he realizes like, oh, is this all I actually wanted? And
Mm-hmm.
to me, the continued dialogue and the reflection to me seemed like if he could have turned that bomb off at that point, he would have, but he wasn't able to.
Oh, yeah, too far gone.
Right. But then as it's all over, and we really do think like, even though the family's collective efforts help put out the fire, um, I know I did. I thought he was dead for sure, for sure.
Well,
And
yeah.
as of right now, he's not actually deceased. And I it just made me cry even more, but Dobby started to cry. And that's something
Mm-hmm.
that he's been saying forever is, oh, my tear ducts burned up. And anytime it's been insinuated that he was crying, that it was like blood coming out of his eyes.
Mm-hmm.
But no, after all of this, it was legitimate tears.
I wonder if the tears thing reopened, obviously with all the emotional stuff, but then also getting access to his mom's stuff.
Right. And that's what I wonder too. And like finally being able to synergize his whole person. Because honestly, it stands to reason, to my logic at least, if he had never been put in a life or death situation like that, he never would have awakened his
Hmm.
mom's dormant
Yeah,
quirk
which
in
is
him.
crazy. Yep, yep.
But that also stands to reason, like, hey, what if Midoriya never didn't have a quirk? Maybe he just had something where he has to be at the brink of death that it's going to come out. Like
True.
maybe I don't know. I don't know
We don't
because
know.
yeah, the manga's done, but I haven't read it. We all know this. I've stuck to it. I'm not going to ruin the ending for myself. Um,
So, end of that, Todoroki family. Number one hero's done. One of the top strongest students is done. So obviously we're losing firepower. So we
oh yeah,
stopped we stopped the nuke. we still have a limitless army that we have to deal with.
Unlimited army with a girl who's got emotional problems,
So
thirst for blood.
a girl's ego, and it's up to Uraraka. You got to do whatever it takes to beat Toga, or we
Mhm.
lose.
Or we
Even
lose.
like in the middle of their fight, even before the end, I know I'm jumping, but in the middle of their fight, the reporter, God, she was hitting it for me because when you see, and it was also in the Dobby one, when you
Hmm.
saw the people in the shelter doing the cross and praying because they knew they were gonna die when if Dobby's bomb would have went off, it was just
Yeah.
like I was like, oh my God, they know they're gonna die. Like, and like just that finale, like this is it for us. And the reporter thing in this Uraka thing, because the Sad Man's Paradise kept spreading, she's like, this is what they've been talking about. It's true. The quirk
Doomsday
theory, the
theory. Yep.
doomsday theory is real. Like the quirks have gotten way too powerful. Like this is it. We're gonna lose. Like the fact that the reporter was saying that and she's like,
Yeah.
we're gonna lose. This is it. In the middle of this episode, I'm just like, oh, this is some stakes right here. These are
This is do or
ah,
die, Uraraka. This is do or
this is
die.
time. And what do you think about the Uraraka Toga dynamic? Because I see a lot of people don't like it because they like Uraraka said, I've only met you for like I met you a month ago, whatever the hell, whatever,
Yeah.
whatever. So it's like the fact that you go so far for someone you met for 1 month, like I don't know. A lot of people just don't like the dynamic. They feel like it's force fed because it's like, all right, it's the top girl from the protagonist
I
side and the top girl from the antagonist side.
I mean, I understand the idea that it's force fed as like the two strongest like female characters. Although
Hmm.
again, even at this point, I still would kind of argue that Crappie is still like overall stronger than
And she
Uraraka. But
got put in the
regardless,
dirt too.
I fucking know. But that's because Toga actually, started thinking and planning and gave her
Hmm.
neurotoxin. So like,
Oof.
yeah, yikes. But overall, I just had to say that because like, and I know we're going to talk about it in a different podcast, but spoiler alert if you haven't heard that one yet. They did her so dirty in that fucking movie.
Sue.
Um, yeah, yeah. Anyway, so just that's all I'm going to say about that for now. Um, but yeah, I understand the argument that it's forced in the sense of like, oh, always got to be the top girl against the top girl. Like, it can
Hmm.
never be the top girl against one of the top guys, if not
Hmm.
the top guy, which is a little annoying, I will say overall. But that's kind of what it is for right now. I do think anime hopefully will eventually evolve and we get, you know, situations like that. But I can also already hear people saying like, "Oh, it's forced. The top girl definitely wouldn't fight a guy. It's only because it's whatever." So
And how, like you just said, even though it wasn't as bad as a movie, but Froppy got basically jobbed out in this movie, in this episode, so it can literally be Uraraka, like by herself,
right,
having the whole
um,
dialogue and all that.
right, and I don't know. To me, it doesn't the way. Okay, I'll own up to it on my end. I was thinking it was going to be that way. I was thinking it was going to feel that way,
Hmm.
but how well that dialogue came together, how well Uraraka seemed to really tap into seeing through Toga's fear, anger, hurt, grief into like almost the purity of where everything was coming from.
Hmm.
Once you see that, it doesn't matter how long you've known somebody. If you know to their core that they're better than what they're doing and you have committed to helping people to the extent that she has, I will no longer dog her for saying that she wanted to become a hero to pay for her parents and things of that nature. She acknowledged in this episode how short sighted that was. And her purpose and her drive to become a hero has evolved since then. And there are times when I'm listening to them and I'm like, you know what, Uraraka, like you would have been well within your rights to go ahead and just beat her to a pulp or kill her or whatever it would have taken to, put this threat down because that's what we needed. That's what the entire world needed of you. But the fact she was able to handle it in a way that was compassion forward and also a little bit self-sacrifice. All of them have had to have been self-sacrificing. This is all about heroes. So they all have to be a little self-sacrificing, but she's doing it in a way that's beyond just physical. She's being very emotionally vulnerable. The visuals to me of, the inner Toga, the inner child Uraraka, how at that very last moment, right before I guess final impact, because Uraraka's already been stabbed.
Yeah,
But
we're not
right,
gonna we're yeah, casually like Uraraka's dying. She's
yeah,
literally dying. Like,
she got stabbed in the abdomen already. So she's
yeah.
already been stabbed in the abdomen. She's still trying to talk to her. Um, and when Toga's going in essentially for like the actual kill,
Hmm.
we see that visual of Toga being like a really scary, like shadowy snake type figure thing, getting really close to Uraraka, baby Uraraka. And
Hmm.
Uraraka still just looking at her, didn't flinch, and just holding her arm up of like, here, you can have my blood. Like you crave blood, you thirst the blood of, those you love, and I'm willing to provide that for you. Like I'm willing to be that person for you. And seeing her unwavering belief and devotion to that, Toga put it down. She put she put the knife down.
Which is
And
wild. And also too with this is how like she's on the verge of death, and before she's literally bleeding out as we speak,
mhm.
as we're talking
Yep,
right now.
yep.
But you knew it's either because again, like we talked about, it's like she's the main female protagonist, so more than likely she's gonna make it out. But of course, right now, time of recording, she is dying. And
Yep.
but you never want to beat the double combination of you finally have your awakening and
Mhm.
you're dying. Like that's
Yep.
never the good mix you want.
Right.
Because
Right.
she powered up. I mean, she was able to use zero gravity to make all the doubles and heroes float in there. Like
So,
she awoken like when we needed
yep.
it the most.
Yep. And Toga's is like, oh, this is just like the time when I used her quirk, and it was just like, oh God, and yeah, and it's that awakening at the brink of death of, you have to adapt to survive.
Yep.
Here it is.
Yep.
Here's the adaptation. Boom, here you go.
A
But
lot of
yeah,
people do
and
shit on the cutest thing in the world bit. I've seen a
I
lot of people shit on that was one, and I do not get spoiled on the mangas
hmm,
because I stay away from. But that was a year ago where this random picture of Toga saying she's the cutest in the world. They were shitting on that. They're like, and I had no context. I was like, what is this even?
right about, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Because you really smile saying, "Oh, you're definitely the cutest," while I'm dying.
well, and again, for Uraraka's character, with how deeply we've
Hmm.
come to realize that she cares and wants to save people, and has come to care about Toga or understand her feelings in such a way that she does care about her emotional well-being.
Hmm.
It's not a lie. Uraraka, she didn't plan to know that Toga was going to have a really beautiful, like innocent smile when she confessed her feelings to Midoriya. That just happened. So it's coming from the heart in that speech of, I wanted to tell you, your smile was beautiful. I was jealous. Like it she's being open and vulnerable, honest. And I mean, sure. I mean, it's one of those things where, a girlfriend would be like, babe, am I the prettiest girl you've ever seen? And technically speaking, the answer is most likely, statistically, probably no.
Hmm.
However, for the emotional impact, for the belief in you're the person I love you. Yes, you're the most beautiful person I've ever seen on this planet. It's just one of those things. And it was, oh God, that was another thing that just kind of really, really hit in the sense of she was made to feel like her smiling, and that's such a normal human, almost automatic reaction. There have been studies that show even, fully people who are fully blind and have been blind since birth reflectively smile, even though they haven't ever seen somebody do it. So
Mhm.
for her to be so insecure about it and feel like there's something wrong with her smile and have somebody, tell her, I think technically twice would have been the first one to tell her that, that she was cute and she had a cute, probably mentioned like her smile. I don't remember that dialogue if he did, but my
Mhm.
guess is probably did. But I mean, this girl also just stopped herself from killing you. So if you really want to go from a desperation angle, why wouldn't you just agree with her and say, "Yeah, you have the cutest smile in the world"? Like, what? She just stopped her whole attack. Time is running out. She like what? I don't know. I don't mind that, honestly. I think
Yeah,
it would have been more realistic for her to say, like, you have one of the most beautiful smiles I've seen instead of like in the whole world. But again, then that just cheapens it in a way that, yeah,
I
I'm
get
okay
it.
with it. I'm okay with it.
Well, the episode ends. They're both falling. Uraraka's going to die. To our
Yep.
knowledge, at that point, it starts off. So we've gone from one of these things where the most unlikely of people have had multiple times saving the planet. I will say the
Mhm.
planet because
No, they're
obviously,
saving the planet at this point. This is not just about Japan. This is not just about, that half of the this is everywhere. This is for everybody.
so the first unlikelies, obviously, Gentle Criminal and Lady
Mhm.
Naga, like they
Yep.
saved it. I will throw a
La
little bit
Brava.
too. Yeah, LeBrava, her too, especially. I will throw a little too. I know he was getting help, but Eraser, I'm not saying him, but Eraser's been through this shit. Literally, season six, he had to keep his
Yep.
eyes open the whole time. Monoma didn't.
Monoma.
So Monoma, for the fact that he had to toughen the hell up,
Yep.
and he was, I mean, he
He was
last
holding it
time,
down. If
yeah,
if 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 Kurogiri hadn't warped right behind them and put their heads down, he would still be locked on
yep,
Shigaraki. He
yep.
was standing on business. He was about it. He was not about to let
So does him up and him, Uraraka now just stopping the doubles, the whole combination with the Ida, Shoto, Todoroki family stopping Dabi, all that. We're doing that. We still have a problem.
a major, well,
Well,
two of them.
two of them.
Two. Now we
Shigaraki,
got two problems.
but they're the strongest problems in the world. Shigaraki is obviously still locked in with Midoriya, and All for One, like we talked about 2 episodes ago. He hates All Might. He thinks it's gonna be light work. He's gonna literally, he's gonna drive by, blast him, and keep him moving.
Yeah.
And we won't. And this one's really a straightforward to the point one, so that we can get this in. But
Oh,
All Might,
All
briefcase and
Might.
all, like Iron Man 2.
Iron Man.
Hercules, aka the Batmobile,
Yes.
reveals that he has his own Iron Man suit, dubbed Iron All Might, and it was literally made by
Yep.
Melissa.
Yes.
So Melissa did all that on her own, and you're seeing all that high tech shit from that young adult, and you're just like, oh, something we've talked about, like, hey, these quirkless people, they could fight too. Like they have the technology and
Yes.
the weapons, and we're finally seeing this suit, and he's going at it with young All For One. What were your initial thoughts on the suit up?
On the initial suit, I mean, immediately. I mean, I grew up into my teen years on the MCU.
Hmm.
Like, and it was Iron Man 2 where he had the
Yep,
suitcase
at
and
the
was
race
like,
car track. Yep.
yes. And that was my immediate thought. I was like, oh shit. And then also tying into how, Midoriya is a little bit modeled off Spider-Man. So
Hmm.
then it's like, oh, this is perfect. Iron Man being like semi-dad figure to Spider-Man in the MCU. Obviously, the relationship is different
Yeah.
because All Might is not Iron Man.
No, not by any
But
means.
him specifically calling out like, that he's representing his predecessor, making sure that his smile is visible, and also like calling back to Midori. I mean, he uses more of Midoriya's quirks in the suit. I know you hadn't touched on this yet, but I was geeking over the fact that the first quirk, not it's not a quirk because it's man-made, but essentially the first
First move.
first move, thank you, yes, the first move he uses, and he calls it by the proper name from that hero, and that's, what was it? It was Heart and Red Riot,
Hmm.
Red Riot Heart, and it was like, oh my God. And okay, then part of me was
Oh,
a
we
little
just backtrack because you
ahead.
brought that
Yes.
up. God, so many episodes ago, just because that was an important thing where Mina told Red Riot, I
Yeah.
finally paid you back.
Uh-huh.
And then like she's passed because she's done. And then he's passed. And then he has that moment. He's like, "You freaking idiot! You've always been my hero." I was like, "Oh man,
Oh yeah, I know. That
I
was so
forgot.
fucking
Can't believe I
cute.
forgot to talk
One
about that." Yeah,
100% canon right there. 100% that's happening. That is adorable. Oh my God. That was just like a oh.
yeah. Well,
Just
she's
how we
literally
got
like,
the
I finally,
confirmation of like the feelings for between Denki and Earphone Jack in the
yeah,
last season. Yep,
I
that's what that
finally,
was like. Oh
I finally paid you back after you saved me from just because you brought up that. But no, he's
yes.
doing that, and obviously Red Riot, big fan favorite from season 4. He already had his greatest moment of the series and
Hmm.
all of that, and he's using the attacks of Class 1A. And
And it's awesome. Just
what did
it's
you what did you think of teenage dude? He looks like a fucking adult. Like the teenage. I'm like, there's
he
no way
did.
he is
He
supposed to
did.
be the same age. That's supposed to be what he looked like when he met his master when Midoriya, that little baby ass Midoriya met All Might in
Right.
season 1. They're
Right.
the same age. Then I'm like, ain't no way. Ain't no way.
Okay, so to me, what it recalls in my mind is that when I was growing up, there were definitely kids that hit puberty faster,
Hmm.
um, versus others. So that's what it reminded me of. But to me, it was also just not that shocking, only because All Might did say like he didn't struggle accepting the quirk because he had a very physically strong
That's
body.
true. I
So
always
like
wonder
I
why
wasn't,
like the super buff form he can't keep like because even when you see the first movie and he's like at the starting time, like he's
yeah.
perfectly fine. Like I don't understand why the buff thing became you can maybe it was because of the rib injury, but whatever. The fact that he looked like that and he was so sure of himself, like he was it
Mhm.
wasn't arrogance, so just like I want to do this, like I want to help,
I'm committed to this.
yeah,
This is my
quirkless or
passion. This
not,
is my
yeah.
dream. Hmm.
And then obviously, girl, she's just like, oh, we might have something with this kid. We
let's
just might.
let's well, and it became All Might. So it
Yeah,
was
isn't that great? Like that, just seeing the high school All Might, like seeing his determination in his face, I'm just like, this is wild. And
yep.
then All for One, still talking shit. He's like, what does this matter? You just put a trash can over your body. I'm like,
You put on a
Jesus.
trash bag. So what? And it was like, oh hell,
I'm like, what
okay,
is happening?
man, and just also to be fair though, All Might talking some mad shit
He
over here
was
on
too.
purpose. The I've never heard All Might laugh like that. That was
Hmm.
kind of maniacal, and it was a little off-putting to me. But I'm like, I see your vision here. I'm in full support, sir. Um,
It's wild. Like he's getting in there underneath the skin. We're doing the stalling because of the rewind.
the
Now,
jab, the
yeah,
pinky, what did he call it? Pinky acid or
I have a
just
problem
the
with
pinky
that.
shot?
I have a
Why?
problem with
Okay,
that
okay.
because we would have won if he wasn't so dedicated to making this about his students. If that was a quirk destroying bullet, the game's over.
Oh, I know. I thought that's what it was at
I thought it
first
was too.
too.
I got hyped. I was like,
Like,
oh my God, we just won.
yeah, right. Yeah, no. I did have a brief moment. I was like, oh my God, was that? And then, I mean, it was still cool though, in the sense
It
of, okay,
was.
it's poison. And since it's internal, it just rewound him that much younger. And so now we're looking at a freaking like preteen All for One.
And he's
And
angry.
so, oh, he is pissed. He is
So
real pissed. But All for One, not All for One, All Might, every attack, every time he's had to defend himself, he is breaking bones left and right. So
he's
that
not
suit,
gonna last. He's not gonna last that long.
no,
Maybe against any other bad guy, this would have been over, but this is all for one. Like he's
right. I do. Okay, so when this fight was first starting off, I will say I wonder if this is where Stain cuts in. I wonder if
maybe,
this is where Stain joins the fight and he's able to at least cut All for One and stun him.
maybe,
And maybe just keep him out of that fight with Midoriya forever.
maybe. Yeah,
Essentially,
because
if he can immobilize him, all he's got to do is keep stabbing him,
yeah,
keep cutting him, keep making him regenerate.
but yeah, they're going out is basically that fine. Then the two ending scenes, which is just It hits me every time I see it on social media. When we talked about it a little bit earlier, the class 1A where they're now, Ida in the
Mm-hmm.
ground, Shoto in the
On
ground,
the ground.
Uraraka literally life is leaving her face as she is bleeding out on the
That is
ground.
something we actually didn't talk about though, is into the beginning of this episode is they're
Hmm.
finishing wrapping up a girl's ego. And Himiko Toga is actually doing her own sacrifice play here, and she transformed back into Uraraka and is giving Uraraka a direct blood transfusion.
We'll see if it's
And
enough in time.
she sewed up her wound.
Yeah,
So
but right now
I
though, so lifeless. Like her
yeah.
face, like the picture, like what they were showing in that
Mm-hmm.
thing, Froppy in the ground. Like you're
Yep.
just seeing all the other heroes. Like you see the hospital people who are fighting there
Tokoyami's on the ground.
on
You
the
see, yep.
ground, Mineta
Mm-hmm.
on the ground. Like you're just like, oh, we're class 1A, and then you just see class 1A is on the verge of all dying, and then you see like Momo and all them struck because they were doing their stuff. Like the people who were fighting at the hospital injured. Like you're just sitting here like, dude, are any of y'all gonna make it? They don't even
Mm-hmm.
show Bakugo. They show the All Might card because you already know
They
he's
just
in
show
the
the All Might
dirt.
card with blood on it.
Yeah,
Yep.
because you
Because
know
like
he was the first one to fall.
he
So it's just
was
like, and Midoriya senses that All for One is, I mean, One for All and All for One are One for All,
fighting. Yeah,
All
he
Might and
feels it
All.
in his vestige. Yeah,
So, and then All
he
Might's
feels the
like,
vestige.
this is up to us. Like, we're the
Like,
last two
let's do
left.
this.
And then they
Mm-hmm.
show the, in the last, end of the episode, all four of them on the end scene. And then that's it. Like it's
That's
up to
it.
those two. They are literally the only two heroes left in Japan who are
Yep.
standing.
Yep. And Suka Uchi's like so the big thing for me when it came to the battle without a quirk,
Hmm.
La Brava is like, oh shit, All Might versus All for One. This has to go out live on the internet right the fuck now.
Yeah.
And he's like, turn that off because we're about to see,
The symbol
you
of peace
know,
get cut in half.
yep,
Literally.
we're gonna see this. This we don't need the public to see this. This is not gonna go well. And he's I guess I never realized he didn't really believe in the fact that somebody who's quirkless would be able to stand up and put up a fight.
Well, in
I
his
figured,
defense, there's no one on in the history who has.
but that's mostly because people haven't tried or allowed them to. It's always been just no, you can't because, and to be fair, the very one of the very first episodes we ever see is Midoriya. All my, I want to be a hero. I don't have a quirk, but can I be a hero like you? All Might. Ha! No. Like,
I mean, yeah, it's just but no, well, we never saw a character have like the bravery to do it because we talked about it. Like, why are there any like people like an Iron Man or a
Ant Man.
Batman
Yep.
or like
Mhm.
stuff like that, and just no one's had the will to do it.
Well, that
Maybe,
and
maybe All
that,
Might would have done it if he never got One for All. Like when
right.
he was
I do.
just,
I do. That's part of in that flashback. I'm like, oh, he would have been Batman out here for sure.
mhm. So
For sure.
it's crazy. I mean, and that was October 12th. And Andrew, those were the 5 episodes. Season 7 has
Season
concluded.
7. Thank God it's a season. Whoop whoop. All
So we'll
right.
talk about more about that in the other episodes coming. But anything else you want to talk about in these five about that we missed on the
About
five
these 5
episodes?
episodes.
Final
I'm trying to
frame,
think.
the two
Final
one for
frame.
all for one users.
Oh my God. I just had a random thought, and I guess maybe we can talk about this in just season 7 discussion overall. But
Mhm.
what happens if All for One just rewinds to like baby state and he can't control any of his fucking quirks?
I think you're looking at another bomb.
Right? That's what I was like, wait, I just that was a random, I just came home from work thought. Like, wait a minute.
Yeah, I
I'm
think that's
hoping they just rewind him from being, maybe a toddler to like not existing, but technically he could just be a very volatile ass having multiple quirk ass baby. Like
yeah. I honestly think it's another bomb, which that is the worst bomb you can have. That's not good. That's
not a
that's not good.
pleasant thought. But thankfully, season 7 coming 2025. Fingers crossed
Season
for
eight,
summer.
eight.
What?
You said season 7 coming 2025.
Sorry, season 8. Excuse me. You're right. Season 7 wrapped up 2024. Season 8, final season coming in 2025. I am crossing my fingers and toes for
Which
an
I
early
called.
release
I
in
called it was the
summer.
final season.
You did.
I
You
was like,
did.
"Yep, it's this is wrapping up. Like they're not. They're not pissing around. So,
Right. And
and
honestly, this content, this cliffhanger leads me to believe there's actually more than I would have assumed. Because to me, I really thought I did. I thought All Might was gonna get tossed to the side real quick, and it was just Midoriya versus everybody.
well,
But
like
there's a
we
second fight that's still going on, so that's at least two fights that we have to build content out of. What are your predictions for like how many episodes? I'm guessing at least 12, 15.
I mean, we can say it now, or we could save it for the season 7 top moment episode we're about to have.
I guess we can save it.
So I'll actually think on that. But
Listen to the next episode, guys.
with that being said, thank you everyone for listening to the L7C podcast. This episode is about the last 5 episodes of My Hero. You're gonna get 2 more. You're getting 3 My Hero Academia episodes this month. Isn't that great? You're gonna get this one. You're gonna get our thoughts on the movie. Then you're gonna get our season 7 retrospective. With that being said, L7C podcast signing out. Thank you for listening to this episode of the L7C podcast. Be sure to like, rate, review, and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on all social media platforms, and we'll be talking to you guys soon. Take care.